Took me about a couple minutes to get this set up, but y'all already know what time it is. Welcome back, Team DWC. Like I just said, y'all already know what time it is. It's like 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. If not, it'll be 10 a.m. or 10 a.m. Saturday or Sunday, whichever way that goes. A little bit off today. So, you know how that goes. We're going to keep it player, do what we do. Hopefully, y'all got some videos y'all like to watch, because if not, you come back and watch videos with me, right? Like, man, YouTube be boring sometimes. And then sometimes you don't know what the hell you gonna do. And that's what we be talking about, right? What the hell we gonna do? Because we already know that much. Let's see. Let's make it look better. Bring it up just a little bit. We'll call that cool. Set it to where I can see the chats. My notifications are clear. Shouts out to the homie Creative. Y'all know to go check him out over on his YouTube channel. He's been doing a lot of bike riding, and we appreciate that. He even won an award for getting in the competition. Shouts out to that part of the game, right?
If you're still buying your bud from the dispensary, you might want to hear this. Let's talk about why homegrown wins. But first, check this out. Today's video is brought to you by RealDGC.com. If you want to connect with our private community of premium growers, get grow tips from some of the best growers around the world, and get access to exclusive Dude Grow Show content. Membership is free, and you can become a DGC producer if you want to help support the value that we bring you here. Head on over to RealDGC.com and get signed up today. All right, back to the show. All right, this should be easy, Scotty. Homegrown, come on. Yes, we're big fans of the homegrown.
Absolutely. And, man, you go to dispensaries much?
It's almost never. Except I only go when I cross an international border and need a pre-roll for a drive.
Oh, man, you're out with the pre-rolls, all right? But come on, let's talk about it. First off, dude, the first point I'm thinking of is freshness, because if I roll you a joint and then you smoke it this afternoon, you're going to enjoy it. But if I roll this joint 3, 4, 5 days, a week, or 10 days ago, and then put it in a container or a glass jar and hand it to you, it's not going to be nearly the same.
It can still be good, but yeah, you just straight up, you can't get as fresh.
When you're grinding something up or you're exposing it to more surface area, that's so we can, combust more efficiently. When you're grinding it up and exposing it to more surface area, it's also going to start oxidizing. Yeah, man, you better hit that quick, man.
And if you're confident in your own drying and curing process, that you're definitely going to have a better tasting, a more terpy, and good weed for sure. And usually you can check this as well. When you go to the dispensary, I don't want to say all dispos are bad. Don't get me wrong. They should be able to see the date, the process, the batch date. I don't know if it's the bagged date. Yeah, you're not trusting.
It's the packaged date.
Oh, okay.
I did a little investigation on this, yes. And when you look at it, it's packaged on. But what does that mean? How long was it sitting in a bucket? From a guy that keeps weed in a bucket, I can tell you that after 2 or 3 months, it's not the same.
Yeah. This next point, super easy. It's so much cheaper.
Yes.
And why do you want to pay taxes to the man? Come on. It's so much cheaper. After your first initial investment, of course, your first grow. But I think was Jeremy from Build a Soul, did he say after your investment's paid back, it's almost $10 an ounce?
Yeah, he did say something like
for
that.
nutritional inputs to pay for electricity. These days, electricity LEDs are cheap to run. It's not like back in HID days. Anybody can a regular housebreaker, minimal notice on your electric bill for a small grow tent.
Yeah, I got maybe $15-$20 worth of inputs. I'll say $30 with fresh soil every time. And I'm thinking per plant. Yeah, what do you think it costs, man? Another $15 a month in electricity to grow one single plant? Being generous.
And if you got your green thumb going, your dank thumb, it's going to be higher quality. That's going to, I don't know though. Will it be 28% THC? Don't shop for THC. Like if you are going to the dispo, that's I don't know, maybe the least important factor. Of course, you don't want 1% THC, but high THC is not what it's all about.
No, we've had 18% THC weed that gets you super big. 21% used to be in the 90s, like about as high as it would go. And of course, they are going to fudge these numbers, but it really has to do with how THC interacts with the terpenes. And if your terpenes have all volatilized off, that's why we take such care and put our weed in a jar, is to keep those terpenes from oxidizing and volatilizing off and having really well-kept cannabis in, dried and cured correctly. And we all know that's not easy.
Number one point I have is, or my favorite here, you know what you're getting from your home grow. When I went to a dispo, again, traveling, I usually always have my own, but when I go over a border, I can't have my bowl, my dugout with me. I take nothing. So I'm going to buy maybe a pack of some pre-rolls. So you hate on it if you want, Scotty. These pre-rolls out of this
the audience will.
California, they were the most fruity tooty. I'm like, there's no way this is real terps. It's
spray packs, man.
So when you grow your own, you're going to be pesticide free. Nothing bad went input nutritional wise. And you're damn proud of it. You're damn proud of what you're smoking.
And consider the motivation. My motivation is to grow cannabis that I can give to my friends that is going to impress them. The motivations that I used to do it back in the day as a free market grower, my motivations were money. And when I had business partners, I'm not making this up, I've had people say this to me, isn't there something we can spray on it, Scotty? You know that guy.
And I worked many years hydroponic retail, and it was amazing to see what people would come in to request. Because, either their job could be on the line, their mortgage payment could be on the line. They get desperate.
Yeah, what do you do if you have a giant facility that you're going to lose to powdery mildew? Do you just say, nah, we'll just throw it all away and start over, hope we don't get it again? That's what I do in my grow. But there you say, you know what? We'll have to sneak some Eagle 20 in, and we'll use that one lab that doesn't test so hard for it.
Now, I feel I do have to give a disclaimer. I know there is some good weed at dispos out there. There are some good dispensaries and some good growers doing it commercially. So
yes.
I don't want to shiz on them, but we are number one fans of homegrown. It's so affordable to do it these days. Let us know in the comments. Is there really good dispensary weed out there, or is homegrown just for the win? Which I'm going that way.
Come on, if you dig this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this one with another grower you know, and check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommend, and we think you'll dig them.
Mr. Nice Guy was blowing up, man. We got customers from all over New York.
No, not that.
We even stole a few from Samson.
Oh, what's up, nigga? Come on in, man. Come on, wait, man. Thanks, baby. Peter, don't get scared.
Yeah. What can I get you today, Smoke a Lot?
Lovely. Let me get a pound of your Swedish chiba.
Yes, someone told me to bring a lot of weed, man. Yeah. Pound of my Swedish Chiba. Get no better than that.
Man, through the bag, baby.
That's gonna be $9,600, bro.
See what I got here. Come on, man. Hang out for a minute, smoke with me. I got weed, got my bong out. Come on, son.
For you, man. I'll stay for a minute, but then I gotta be going.
And
Man, Smoke a Lot opened up to me like I was Barbara Walters. It was ridiculous. He told me about his lawyer,
he had sex with my mama. Why?
spirituality,
God, if you listen, hell,
his bad back,
Dr. said I need a backiotomy.
his love life.
I'm in for this, man. Get away from me, bitch.
I mean, talk about a guy with problems.
Tough break.
I Hey, take it to
No wonder he smoked a pound a week.
somebody won.
So now we had a
Real
famous
nigga boy.
clientele, and
Green eyes gonna miss you.
guess what else?
Call me next week. About weed. About weed.
Shop day. Today I'm gonna be chopping down two of these autos over here because they're ready.
What up, Mr. Gander?
One's
Good to
past
see
ready.
you. How you doing?
Life is just busy with family and everything else going on. I should have done that like a week or two ago or more. And I had a little bit of spider mites, maybe some thirps. So I'm gonna do a bud wash and I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. These are gonna be the two plants I'm gonna chop down. So we'll have the re-veg and then my Northern Lights, the auto. But these are both autos. That one's Northern Lights. This one's Bruce Banner. This is the one I probably should have cut a little bit earlier, but I was trying to let it do its thing, and I was waiting for it 70% or so of the trichomes to turn amber, and they just never quite happened. They're close right now, but as you can tell, it is kind of brown. If you can zoom in closer on the buds really aren't awful. It could be better. And then I'm going to go ahead and chop down this Bruce Banner too. It's probably good enough. But you're gonna need some buckets of water. I'm gonna dump this RO water back in this bucket. I need lukewarm water in this one, so I'm gonna go upstairs and get some hot water, or kind of warm water. Okay, so I have my lukewarm water, I have my cold water. You can do this with two lukewarm waters, like a rinse, and then like another rinse, and then the final rinse. But I'm just gonna do the two. I'm gonna use 1 cup of peroxide and 1 cup of lemon juice per 5 gallons. So we're gonna do 1 cup of peroxide. 1 cup, maybe a little over, won't hurt. We're gonna take that and we're gonna put it in our water. Next, lemon juice.
Bud washer video. That's what's
A
up.
little extra, don't hurt. And we're gonna pour it into the bucket. Gonna give that a stir. Giving it the stir. Get a nice little whirlpool going. Mix this all up nice and good. Okay, and then since I'll be bud washing, I'm not going to just cut the stalk down here at the bottom. I'm going to cut these branches off, make it easier for myself. Cut off the full branch right here, cut it off, and that way I can wash each bud and put it in the bucket nice and easy. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Northern Lights first, so I'm just going to start cutting branches off and going from there. Next, we're going to take this harvest to the bud washer. Now, like I said, this is lukewarm water. This one's going to be cold water. That one's going to be filtered water, RO water. You want it to be distilled or filtered. And then this is just from the tap, warm.
I think he said he wasn't sure if he had a bad case, but just to get any that he might know that he has a problem with out, because like he said, for the most part, it wasn't a bad infestation or anything. So anything that might actually still be there, that's why he was like, "Let me go ahead and just wash them," because hey, better safe than sorry, right? Spider mites definitely suck after you thought you had some decent bud, then you go back into your cure bucket and it's all mited out. Happened to me once.
Now I'm going to set my dry tent, and I'm going to hang these up on the string that's up here. And that's what it looks like all hanging up there. I got my string from one side to the other.
Is it already cold up there in Michigan, bro? Hell, I know it's starting to get a little chilly down here in the morning time. Mom had me bring in a couple of her ferns. Like, hey, put these downstairs. Women, they gonna die for the winter regardless. Talk about put these in the green room. I'm like, yeah, lucky I got some space at the moment, but yeah, put them in the green room. Although it's time for them to go ahead and make their recension for the season. Go ahead and call it a day, right? But hell, it'll be like a week or two, and then they'll look like they're dead, and she'll be like, "Did they die?" Nah, they're just done for the year.
So now I have the Northern Lights here, and I have the Bruce Banner here. I'm gonna turn on my fan, my humidity. I want it to be about 60 degrees in here and a 60% humidity. And keep it like that for a week. Now I'm doing this inside my hunting blind here. You want it to usually be in a dark room. We use colored boxes. Most people use grow tents. That way they can, adjust the humidity and everything else like they want to. But this hunting blind works pretty damn well. And then as far as the water, you really don't see too much in here. I know there is, just a little bit. It's not much. When I did my first plant outside, I had aphids and I had it was mostly aphids, but I had a bunch of little bugs on there, and this stuff worked great. And then I'm gonna leave the plants in here for about a week. You find a medium-sized branch and you want to try to break it. If it just bends, it's not ready. If it just snaps, then you're good. And then there was just my Northern Lights, my re-veg that I have no idea what that is because of the bag seed from the dispo. And I'll tell you that story if you want to know it. But now both these plants have plenty of room and get as much light as they can underneath this JJD 12-bar light. I do think this re-veg is going to be a big girl, especially when I put her back outside in spring. I'm going to scrog her out, get her as horizontal as possible when she's out there, and then support all the buds.
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
You're Scarface, right?
Yeah.
I love Al Pacino, man. You ever see Son of a Woman?
Yeah.
You ever see Son of a Woman? Oh, weed. That's the way to see it, man. It's just wow.
$60, yo.
Cool, man. I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill? On weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Man, fucking crazy, yo.
Oh, it's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
In our past episodes, we broke the news about the illegal Chinese grow operations that are popping up across America. And not just outdoor guerrilla-style grows, but also indoor grows in expensive upscale neighborhoods. And now officials are warning about the widespread use of dangerous, banned chemicals and pesticides, and some folks are even using them to make bleach bomb-style devices. Things are getting so crazy that Sean Ryan had to sit down with Steve Robinson to talk about this very issue, and folks, things get really wild.
It furthers the CCP's goals to have as much cheap, crappy, poisoned pot as possible on the streets, as widely available as possible. So instead of being, fit and patriotic and ready to join the military, you're sitting on your couch smoking poison pot all day playing Xbox.
Just one of the impacts of growing illegal cannabis is pesticides, chemicals often banned in the United States.
One of those toxic chemicals was carbofuran. a lethal insecticide that is effectively banned in the United States. A quarter teaspoon of it, you should note, can kill a 600-pound lion. This is dangerous stuff, and it can cause immense damage to our people and our waterways.
So, guys,
Yeah, shit, that's the motherfucking king of the jungle, and a quarter teaspoon will make his ass sit right down, right? Yeah, the king of the jungle said, "Don't give me the deer shit, cause hell, you're getting a lion. Won't that be a security risk?"
this is a massive problem, and a lot of you home growers out there would know that what you put in is exactly what you get out. So putting in some of these dangerous banned chemicals, that's definitely going to cause health concerns for a lot of people who may consume these products. Now, that being said, there is a lot of concern that these illegal banned pesticides are being used by Chinese grow operations that are popping up across America. Now, what we've seen recently is a massive expansion of a lot of these illegal Chinese grow operations popping up across different states. I'm thinking Maine, California, Oklahoma, Oregon. There's a lot of different states with this problem.
This multi-million-dollar illegal pot bust in Lincoln County has led to 3 arrests. Take a look. Authorities seized nearly 8,800 pounds of marijuana worth more than $7.8 million. It was found in the remote wilderness. A hunter tipped off authorities in February. Nevada State Police conducted surveillance and found it was a historic grow site that was once again active. Nevada State Police say illegal grows can be highly toxic due to the pesticides. If you do see an illegal grow, you can contact Nevada State Police's Investigation Division.
So that example was over in Nevada, and there the police busted a grow site worth $7.8 million. And obviously they found tons of these banned pesticides and chemicals. And here we see another example of it happening, this time over in Oklahoma, and a lot of those folks are part of the Chinese mafia, and obviously they have weapons that they're using to protect their grows.
I've heard of stories that they're heavily armed with AK-47s. I mean, I don't want to pull in there and find out the hard way.
State law enforcement says this drone video from another Oklahoma Chinese grow house shows people rushing to hide marijuana when police showed up, hiding the illegal pot in a shed. For locals, even from the road, it's easy to spot the Chinese operations. Fences that no one else has in the area. Air conditioning units outside the barns. Vans used to transport the Chinese migrants to the pot farms, and expensive high-voltage electricity hookups to run fans and grow lights.
So this is obviously happening, and lawmakers are taking notice. And just a few months ago, there were 7 Chinese nationals which were charged in a multi-million-dollar trafficking ring. Check it out.
A group of Chinese nationals arrested, now accused of running a multi-million-dollar money laundering and drug operation while using illegal aliens they smuggled in from the southern border. Taking it live to Boston, Massachusetts tonight, where the FBI now says these guys exploited America's immigration system, turning quiet suburban homes across the Northeast into their personal hubs for a criminal enterprise. So here's how it all allegedly worked. According to the feds, they say they smuggled illegal immigrants in from China up across the U.S.-Mexico border, then forced them to work in marijuana grow houses without access to their passports, all until they repaid their smuggling debts. Now, 6 suspects arrested just this week, but a 7th man, 47-year-old Yurong Zhu of Greenfield, Massachusetts, remains on the run tonight.
Now, I want to show you guys just how widespread this is, because it's not only outdoor guerrilla-style grows. Like I said, some of these folks are also purchasing U.S. property. I'm talking purchasing homes in upscale neighborhoods and renting them out and just using them to set up grow operations, full-on grow operations in upscale, expensive, wealthy neighborhoods. And that way, people are like, well, nothing is actually happening out there. They set a few kids' toys outside, and everything looks fine.
Please, search warrant, demand that chair.
This was the scene in Discovery Bay early this morning, as DCC officers raided a home on this otherwise quiet, unassuming street.
The houses that are being used specifically because it's small town America. Nobody suspects it's going to be happening here.
Investigators say the homeowner, his wife, and 3 young children lived in one half of the house, while there was a sophisticated grow operation in the other half. More than 400 plants spread out through various rooms with grow lights, fans, and a massive drip system. They say the common thread to all these cases is that the cultivation is linked to Chinese crime syndicates who have basically taken over the illegal marijuana market in California. something that was once controlled by the Mexican cartels.
And there was a shift from public land grows, mostly run by the cartels, to much more residential grows that are run by Chinese nationals.
Agents say the owner of the house, raided in Discovery Bay this morning, is Chinese and also owned another house in Brentwood, which was the agent's next stop.
Police, search warrant, man that tray.
The front door had been barred shut with 2x4s. And once inside, agents found the entire home had been turned into one massive grow house. The bedrooms were covered in reflective insulation with wires for grow lights running throughout the house, plus irrigation systems and dozens of gallons of pesticides and fertilizer. Agents said the grow had just been harvested, and based on the size, it was worth a substantial amount of money on the black market.
So there's obviously a lot of money in it, and that's why they keep doing it. Now, we're going to dig into that Sean Ryan clip in a bit and show you guys how China is actually using the good herb to secretly poison Americans. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics. Use the code LEGAL. It works on the bundle and the beans.
We're tracking and doing our best to dismantle and disrupt these smuggling routes.
It's a growing problem. Illegal pesticides making their way into our national forests, harming the environment and people.
Our Team 10 investigator Melissa Masiha shows us the renewed effort to stop these chemicals from coming into the U.S.
Drugs, people, even tigers, illegally making their way across the border.
We've seen some pretty interesting events of smuggling.
But there's another threat, illegal pesticides. How dangerous is all of this stuff?
These are highly toxic banned pesticides that were originally developed for chemical warfare.
I interviewed the Environmental Protection Agency, Homeland Security Investigations, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're all a part of the Border Pesticide Initiative Group, formed in 2019, based in San Diego. Federal officials say they're looking for these chemicals, usually smuggled in cars coming from Mexico.
This is not just traditional smuggling where it's in the back seat and just failed to declare. There was also deep concealment, quarter panels, hidden in the purses, hidden in luggage.
The final destination for most of these harmful chemicals? Illegal marijuana grows in our forests. Smugglers not thinking about health, but instead profits.
So this is big business, guys. From the smuggling in of some of these illegal pesticides and chemicals to also the good herb itself, selling some of the flowers. A lot of folks can see the profits in this business. And that's why the Chinese mafia keeps pumping out these products. Now, like I said, Steve Robinson broke this down perfectly when he spoke to Sean Ryan on his show. So let's hear what they had to say.
Is this a business that they've generated to procure more real estate in the United States? Or are they poisoning the marijuana? Or, it could be anything. China has so many angles on it.
Yes, and yes.
What am I missing?
So the cannabis that they're producing, more often than not, has pesticides on it, banned substances. There are 13 or 14 different pesticides that have been identified at Chinese grows in California that are prohibited for use in the United States on anything.
And what's even crazier, guys, is that they're turning some of these illegal banned pesticides into bleach bombs and coating the plants in them.
And these are indoor?
They are indoor grows in the Siskiyou forest in Northern California. They have what are called hoop houses. We can find the YouTube video of some people who have flown drones over them, but they're like city-size areas where they put up these hoop houses, which are greenhouses. And they'll grow marijuana in there, and then they'll set up like a 55-gallon drum, and they'll fill it with sawdust, which is a mixture of all of these different herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides, many of which have been imported from China and have no legal use in the U.S., and they'll put a wick in them and burn them. And the smoke fills the hoop house and coats the marijuana and ensures that you don't have any product loss to mold. Because that's a big problem with growing marijuana is the heat, humidity. You're going to get mold. You're going to lose your marijuana. So this is like dropping off, Agent Orange or a nuclear bomb that's going to kill everything except for your marijuana. And they're doing this at a smaller level in houses in Maine as well, where they'll cut half a beer can, take these very same Mylar bags that they're finding in California, they'll find them in Maine, they'll dump them into a beer can, they'll burn them, and they smoke the whole house so that they don't get any mildew or mites or whatever pest on their marijuana plants. And that marijuana is then later consumed along with whatever crazy Chinese pesticides have been applied to it, because there's not a lot of testing on it. And if it's exported across state lines, that's inherently illegal. So whoever takes custody of it after that, whoever sells it after that, they're already breaking the law. And there's not really going to be any recourse for a consumer who finds out that they bought illegal weed in a state where it's prohibited, and later they find out that it's got pesticides in it or something. They're probably never going to know. And this stuff has spread so far through smoke shops and head shops in the United States that we don't really know where it's being grown. You can't possibly know where it's being grown. The supply chain is so distributed.
And guys, that's really scary to think about. Just let that sink in. A lot of these Chinese banned pesticides and chemicals, you're going to be consuming it when you consume those herbal products. If you consume the flower, those chemicals are inherently in the flower because they were used in the entire process. You guys heard about some of those bleach bomb style techniques. It's absolutely crazy. And in a situation like that, where you end up getting poisoned or end up facing some really serious health issues, who are you going to have recourse against? Who are you going to sue? Who are you going to blame? You can't blame anyone except yourself. And that's really unfortunate, because in that situation, the Chinese mafia knows that they're going to get off scotch-free.
So the first thing I would say is, yes, it furthers the CCP's goals to have as much cheap, crappy, poisoned pot as possible on the streets, as widely available as possible. So instead of being, fit and, patriotic and ready to join the military, you're sitting on your couch smoking poison pot all day playing Xbox. Like, you can see how that furthers the CCP's goal. But they also have established a network that is multimodal, in that some of these products are distributed in the form of vape cartridges. So they're just they're like nicotine vapes or traditional cannabis vapes, where it's just a little canister that's got some oil in it. And that's the extracted, refined, 99% THC version of the product.
And what we've seen is that over in places like Texas, they've actually banned all Chinese vapes. Any Chinese vape, they've banned it.
You create that by stuffing a metal tube or a glass tube full of cannabis leaf or cannabis bud, and you blow butane gas or some other kind of gas through it, and all of the oils dissolve out into that gas, including the pesticides and fungicides, by the way. Out the bottom comes the pure THC, which is then used for gummies, vapes, whatever kind of product. But the end result is that you've got these little teeny weeny canisters that you can sell at hemp shops, head shops, wherever, all over the United States. And people are going to pay to have them distributed. People are going to pay to buy them, and they're going to put them up to their mouths, and they're going to suck on them because they think they're going to get high. And if you were a planner for the Chinese military and you wanted to do something bad to the United States, what better network for the distribution of a chemical or biological weapon than a network that's going to self-distribute these little vials, millions of them, to 10,000 different little tobacco shops and head shops all across the United States, and people are going to suck it directly into their lungs. So there's a lot of hypotheticals and potentials there, but it certainly exists.
Now, he raises some really valid points, guys, and I'm going to leave you guys to determine whether it's actually fact, it is happening, or whether it's just a massive conspiracy.
Controls changed. Did I have an update? See, this is bad good news, right? Computer just showing you it updated at some point last night. Probably when I was asleep at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Ain't that bullshit? Yeah, it is. But it could be worse.
Oh, you don't mind. We made some tea. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the No, you're stealing.
What up? Appreciate
My
you
name's Alistair
popping in,
Rigby.
big
Well, as
homie.
far as you're
Hitting
concerned,
that
I'm
thumbs
Willy
up, I already
fucking
know
Wonka,
that.
and you're taking a shit in my fucking chocolate factory. Easy, boss.
With our thing on Rumble tonight, we still got YouTube up and popping though, right?
Don't get upset. When I have to go to the dentist, I'm upset. When Liverpool beats Arsenal, I'm upset. But when some little shit decides to take over one of the most profitable territories in the country, I'm beyond fucking upset. I'm very fucking upset. So, from now on, you're under new management. You will work for me, and in return, you'll receive an allowance.
Allowance?
Yes, allowance. As in, I'm allowing you to keep 10%, and I'm allowing you to keep drawing breath on this earth. Now, you either get down, or you lay down. What's it gonna be, sunshine?
This wasn't no movie. The smart thing was to say yes, get up, and leave the room. But then I thought to myself, what if this was a movie? Look, fuck you, fuck the plane you flew in on, fuck them shoes, fuck your socks with the bell on it, fuck your gay-ass fairy faggot accent, fuck them cheap-ass cigars, fuck your yuck-mouth teeth, fuck your hairpiece, fuck your chocolate, fuck Guy Ritchie, fuck Prince William, fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out of my hotel room. And if I see you in the street, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
Uh-oh. He slapped the shit out of you. Yeah, definitely gab on that.
We start with the cinema. Teach this cheeky bastard a lesson.
Nobody fucking move!
Oh, man, this is bad.
What is this? A casting call for the Sopranos reunion? Do me a favour. Tell room service nobody here ordered the extra large whop with a side order of whop.
Whoa!
Boss!
You motherfuckers work for me now. Any problems? Nope. Okay then. Shit, that's how it be. You gotta clear one motherfucker out and then the rest of everybody else gonna listen. But that's not how you evaluate human life,
Now, everyone
Fred.
wants to pop those new fire genetics, but listen up, because did you know that what happens in the first 2 weeks of a seedling's life can make or break your entire harvest? It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or just sprouting your first bean or an experienced grower chasing perfection. Today, I got 5 crucial tips for you guys in the seedling stage that will set you up for fat, sticky, top shelf flowers later on. So let's dig right in.
Diesel dog, man. Man over the strain there.
Now, tip number 1, guys, is a common one. Watering. Less is more. Keep that in mind. Less is always more. Seedlings don't need a whole lot of water, and overwatering is the #1 killer of young plants. And I'm not just talking canna plants. Now, when you see your leaves droopy or slowed growth, it's often because those roots are suffocating in that soggy, moist soil. So here's the pro move. This is what you guys need to do. Instead of dumping cups of water into your pot, use a spray bottle or even a syringe, and that'll slightly moisten the top edge of the soil, and that'll help you to avoid any overwatering issues. Now, in the seedling stage, something else that I do is use the double solo cup method. Right here, I got a little double solo cup that I used from our previous run of the frozen juice, and what I do is pop a hole. I got 2 solo cups and I pop a hole in the bottom of one. So this one acts as the reservoir, and this one is the one that actually houses the seedling. So when I pop it out, I do a little bit of bottom watering, and that way it's a lot harder to overwater your seedlings than if you were just dumping tons of water over there. So for me, the double solo cup method is something that I always do. Every single time. But no matter which method you decide to use, always wait a few days before watering again. That prevents any root rot and also helps the oxygen just to keep it flowing in that root zone. And always remember, if there's too much water in your root zone, your roots are going to suffocate, they cannot breathe, and that means your plants are going to die. Now, another advanced watering hack when it comes to the seedling stage that a lot of growers actually use is just watering in a little ring around the seedling. Not directly at the base, but rather in a ring around the seedling. strength. And that forces the roots to stretch out outward, and as they stretch out that water, and that actually creates a stronger, wider root system, and the stronger root base is everything. That sets the stage for massive nutrient uptake as soon as you flip to flower. But don't mess it up, guys, because overwatering is fatal, especially in the seedling stage. Now, tip number 2, guys, is light positioning and intensity. And obviously, these little bulbs are not what you want to be using. But also, you don't want to be using a massive LED light that's going to fry your seedlings. You can use something small, something really small and simple that's actually meant for seedlings. Like this little light that I got, this is really unique. This is really useful, and because it's not too powerful, I can actually place it on top of my humidity dome when my seedlings are in there, and I don't get any light burn at all. Now, yo, seedlings stretch like crazy, especially if your lights are too far away or if they're just too weak. And that's why these little CFL bulbs or these little bulbs are not ideal at all. And a lot of times that weak, lanky growth is almost impossible to fix later on. And a lot of times if your seedlings get really stretchy, they can be fixed with a little bit of backfill. But if they're just overall really weak and lanky, then you have a little bit of a problem because those seedlings are not exhibiting their strength. And what you really want is some really strong seedlings. So for me, what I usually try to do is to keep these LEDs around 18 to 24 inches around the canopy, especially if I'm using more powerful ones. If I got LEDs with those little dimmers, then I'm going to use that dimmer and turn it down so I don't fry my seedlings.
I mean, it's crazy.
But that said, if you guys are using CFLs like these little bulbs or some weaker LEDs, sort of like this one, then you can put them a little bit closer. You can actually put them a lot closer than if you're using some really high intensity lights. Now here's a pro tip, guys. Don't just guess what your light intensity is coming out of those fixtures. You want an actual good measurement. A cheap Lux meter app on your phone can actually get you into ballpark, and there are a lot of other meters that you guys can grab on Amazon that are really useful. But the point is that seedlings thrive at about 5,000 to 7,000 lux, or about 200 to 400 ppft. So a lux meter, a par meter, these things will really help to put you guys in the range. And that range is literally the sweet spot that fuels your growth without frying your delicate leaves. If you notice a little bit of those leaf edges starting to curl upwards, then your light's a little bit too intense. So just raise it a little bit or reduce that dimmer a little. Now, number 3, guys, is airflow. Airflow and stem strength. And these are really important, especially when it comes to the seedling stage, because your seedlings can become really wimpy and just topple over, and that's not ideal at all. So airflow and stem strength is actually pretty underrated. Gentle breeze early on, just with a little oscillating fan, can actually help to prevent any mold. It keeps the surface of your leaves dry. But it also strengthens your stems. And think of it this way, without airflow, you're basically raising a tiny, flimsy plant that will pretty much collapse as soon as it heads into flower and gets a little bit of weight on those buds later on. And this is a great point, because have any of you guys ever grown any ladies without using any oscillating fans whatsoever? You guys would probably find out that they literally have like zero strength, and also they just seem a little bit flimsy, floppy. And if you were to move those ladies around, those buds will not stand straight at all. They will flop all over, and again, that's not ideal. It'll cause a lot of problems later on in flower. And thankfully, this is a really easy fix, because all you need to do is grab a little oscillating fan, place one of those in your grow tent, and if you're in the seedling stage, you don't even have to have it super high. You can have it on the lowest setting, because you don't want to blast your seedlings either, because windburn is a real thing. I've actually got some videos on the channel early on when I was blasting my plants with a massive fan, and everyone was like, yo, is that a hurricane or a tornado in your grow tent, Matt? What's going on? So don't blast the seedlings. You just want a little bit of a wiggle, a light wiggle in the stems. And guys, trust me, because that little wiggle, that little bit of wind stress will actually pay off big time, because that movement actually signals to your plant to reinforce its stalk with that extra cellulose and lignin. At least I think I pronounced that right. Lignin. Basically, think of it as weightlifting for your plants. The result is thick, strong stalks that can support monster flowers without snapping. You're really doing some bodybuilding to put on those muscles. Next up, guys, you really want to dial in that environment, and that's where one of these little critters come in super handy. A thermometer, a hygrometer, these things help you to dial in exactly what's going on. But you got to dial in that environment, especially in the seedling stage, guys. Seedlings are like newborn babies. They need a stable environment. Keep your grow temps between about 72 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 22 to 26 degrees Celsius. Your humidity, you want it about 60 to 70%. So right here, we're at about 60%, so that's ideal. And that actually mimics the springtime conditions when your plants naturally sprout. And again, guys, this is an easy tip that can level up your grow. Grab one of these cheap hygrometers or thermometers, and a lot of times they come with a combo where you actually get the temperature and the humidity. Some grow tents also have environmental controls which allow you to set the RH and the temps in your grow tent. But I also highly recommend getting one or two of these and popping them into your grow space. It'll really help dial in those environmental conditions. Right, Joe. Now, personally, I've lost tons of beans in the germination stage, and that's why I use the Qualtrips Germination Booster. Not only does this help to boost my germination rates, but it also helps to protect against pathogens, viruses, and any of those types of diseases that actually cause the damping off issue. And you guys know damping off can be fatal for your little baby seedlings. So for me, I take any opportunity I can get to get a little bit of a boost, and the Qualtrips Germination Booster is just that. It definitely puts me ahead of the game. So give it a try. Use the code ICANTHC. It'll give you a nice little discount, but it'll also help to boost your germination rates and most importantly, help strengthen your seedlings throughout that seedling stage. So give it a try. Alright, y'all, and here's a pro tip. You want to start those seedlings under something like this, a little humidity dome. And that's usually for the first 3 to 5 days at the very least. And what that does is actually increase the humidity and create a stable environment. So it's a lot easier to manage your environment inside of one of these little humidity domes. And a lot of times they'll come with these little vents up at the top where you can spin them and open these vents. My vents actually broke off, but if you want, you can actually open the tent ever so often just so that there's an exchange of fresh and still air. Now, what opening these vents and allowing fresh air to get in there actually does is harden off those seedlings. And that's really important because that prepares them for life outside of the humidity dome and in your veg chamber or your veg tent. I said veg chamber because I use a veg chamber, but a lot of you guys probably just got veg tents, right? Now, by adjusting the vents and allowing for some of that air exchange, what that also does is train them to survive in lower humidity. So by the time you actually transplant them, they're tough enough to handle the stress without stalling or just dying off. And because I love you guys, I'm gonna give you guys an extra pro tip. I still love you. Seedlings hate temperature swings. If your grow tent swings about 10 to 15 degrees between the day and night times, then you're actually slowing down the growth of your seedlings and causing more problems than good. So try to keep it stable. That's the name of the game. Now, I know it can be difficult to actually find a place for these big humidity domes sometimes, and that's why you can actually use some of these smaller ones. I actually got this one at the garden store, and it's a really small mini humidity dome. It's a lot smaller. It's a lot smaller than this one, but it serves the same purpose. It just doesn't have any of those adjustable vents over top. And guys, humidity domes are super cheap and super useful, so definitely grab them and give them a try. Now, it's painful losing genetics, and that's why we're dropping some of these tips for you guys. But when it comes to fire genetics, guys, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club. We got fire genetics going out to VIPs all the time, and I don't want you guys to miss out. And plus, we had a recent drop. This is the Femline, the Jelly Berry, and this is exclusive, limited to 62 packs. So if you guys haven't grabbed these, grab it before they're gone. This one did not go out to VIPs, so if you're in the VIP club, make sure to grab it because when it's gone, it's gone. Now, here's the fifth and final pro tip, guys, as I cannot juggle because I'm not a clown, but you definitely want to feed your seedlings smart and not hard. Don't go hard on them. Don't go too hard and feed them too hard. Definitely feed them smart. And that's why I was using the ICANN seedling formula as well as the ICANN veg pack. These are some really great organic slow-release fertilizers that just work great. But you don't have to use the ICANN organics. The point here is, guys, that there's a lot of people that mess up when it comes to feeding your seedlings. And that's because seedlings already have a little bit of nutrients stored in that tiny little seed shell. And plus, good soil or starter plugs, some of the ICANN organics, or if you soak your plugs in something like Recharge, use the code ICANNTHC on your Recharge, then a lot of times your seedlings already have enough nutrients stored in them. and that'll usually last them for about the first 5 to 10 days. So basically, feeding too soon equals nutrient burn. You definitely don't need to feed your seedlings as soon as they break soil. That's absolutely not necessary. After the first 10 to 14 days, you can definitely start to feed. Also, go light. Don't go too heavy. Now, you can tell if you actually have nutrient burn in the seedling stage very easily. A lot of times, the nutrient burn will show up as crispy brown tips on those seedlings. And because those seedlings' leaves are so small, it's really noticeable. And you'll probably be like, what the heck is going on? So here's the beginner rule when it comes to feeding. Don't feed until the first set of true leaves actually appear. And those are the ones after the round cotyledon leaves. I'm not talking about the little cotyledons. Once your first set of leaves are fully developed, then you can start off with quarter strength nutrients. Or you can just use something like the ICANN Veg Pack because this breaks down slowly over time and you don't need a whole lot. Use the code ICANNTHC and you can grab the bundle and it will definitely save you a lot of headache and stress in the garden. Now, if you're in cocoa or soya, things might be a little bit differently. And in those situations, it's really important to feed a little bit earlier, but still lightly. Because in cocoa and in hydro, those are inert mediums. And a lot of times you'll need things like CalMag in cocoa, but also you can add things like beneficial microbes, mycorrhizae, and root stimulators. These also work great. These things supercharge your root development and also set you up for a faster veg period. And that's why things like the Recharge and the ICANN Organics are so great. Recharge is a great microbial inoculant, but the ICANN Veg Pack and Flower Power also got those beneficial bacteria boosts in there. So don't snooze on them. They play great together and your plants will love them. But no matter what you use, guys, a strong microbial colony around the roots also helps to buffer against any mistakes later on, things like pH swings or even salt buildup. So do not snooze on those little added extras like the mycorrhizal inoculants and the beneficial bacteria boost that you get from the ICANN Organics. It's absolutely fantastic and cannot be underestimated, guys. Now, those are 5 tips, but I got a bonus tip for you guys. Now, since we're going through some in-depth things, I figured I'll drop this one. Don't transplant too early. And also, don't transplant too late. Those are stuff that always get me, especially that transplanting too late one. Sometimes I just leave the seedlings in the solo cups for too long or in the 1-gallon pots for too long, and then all of a sudden, I got issues. The plants are running out of nutrients in the little home. They're becoming root bound. It's just always an uphill battle at that point. So then when should you transplant? And for me, always wait until you see those roots poking out of the sides or the bottom of your starter cup. And that's why I said when it comes to using the double solo cup method, it's so useful because you could literally just pull them out and have a look at those roots. And those roots go straight through the hole. They literally grow out of that hole and there's no issues when it comes to transplanting. You can pop them straight out. Those roots are not being ripped, burst, or affected, and it's so easy to transplant. So definitely try that double solo cup method, guys. And don't transplant too early because a premature transplant can stall your growth for a week or more. But also don't wait too long because at that point the plant is root bound and it'll pretty much be an uphill battle from there.
Understand and follow simple rudimentary instructions.
Now, if you're in something like solo cups, you can wait until your seedlings are about 3 or 4 nodes tall and showing steady daily growth before you actually transplant them. And that's it. Those are the 5 essential tips plus a little bonus that will make or break your harvest during the seedling stage. The seedling stage is super important. If you cannot get past the seedling stage, you're definitely not making it to flower, fam. So water smart, manage your light, add airflow, stabilize the environment, and feed correctly. It's all about the genetics, so join the ICANN VIP Bean Club, and you'll be amazed at how strong your seedlings can start and explode into veg. Now, if you learned something today, smash that like button, share your own seedling hacks and tips in the comments down below, and subscribe for more grow tips. And trust me, when you nail that seedling stage, your flowers are denser, stickier, and way more rewarding come harvest time because you just started everything off right. So smash that like. Thanks for tapping in. And if you want to find out more about growing that fire, then check out any episode on screen right now. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, fam.
Hey, bro, which city would you live in? Gotham City or Metropolis? That's easy. Gotham City. What? Why Gotham City? Because think about it like this. Most of the problems you'll run into in Gotham, especially the villains, can easily be dealt with by keeping a strap on you. No, that's a lie. I don't believe that. Bro, the only people you really have to worry about is Clayface, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Bane, and Killer Croc. Everybody else is fair game. Because I know for a fact, Joker, Penguin, Harvey Dent, Scarecrow, and everybody else in this motherfucker is not bulletproof. I know that shit for a fact. I mean, you do have a point on that. But Metropolis, hell no. You'll die within the first week. I mean, if Superman is in Metropolis, doesn't that count for anything? And look at Superman Rogues Gallery. Metallo, Atomic Skull, Lex Luthor, Brainiac. Last time I checked, a lot of these motherfuckers are bulletproof. The fuck is a gun gonna do to that shit? That is true. Exactly, so I'll take my chances in Gotham City, bitch.
What's poppin', you guys? It's your boy, man, back at it with a banger. A consistent banger for you guys one time, man. We're at the office in LA right now. I got myself a little cup of Joe right here, a cold brew to be exact. Let's take a sip one time, come on. And it's morning time, baby. Morning time, we're getting straight to the grind. Today, I rolled myself up something. It's a little gift from my people over at Valley Creamer. It's called Old Faithful. This is what we're going to be puffing on for the sake of today's video. So big shout out to my boy. We're going to get to experience that for the first time here in this video. But today we got a very important topic. We got a topic that seems to have a lot of people confused. And honestly, it's not even your fault if you're confused. Because I was confused for the longest time, and it wasn't until I really started doing my research beyond just what I would find on Google that I was able to get, okay, the real answers and figure out this is exactly how this works, and there's no other confusion to it, okay? A lot of the people in this industry, especially the people that are like in the rec side of the market, basically the people that sell brands within the dispensaries and stuff like that, they're the ones to mainly want to talk shit about this. Why? Because it doesn't benefit them that companies like mine and other companies are able to basically ship products across the country while they're limited to whatever local state they're in, whatever dispensaries they're in. They have a whole lot of other laws that they're limited to. And obviously it's like a big slap in the face to them that they have all these regulations and taxes, and here we come in the hemp space and we're able to provide the same exact product as simple as ordering from your phone or your computer. So with that being said, there's a lot of misinformation out there in the market. And if you do a simple Google research, what is THCA? You're going to be hit with THCA is less than 0.3, 0.3, same thing, 0.3% Delta 9 THC or less. Would consider it THCA, and it would consider the product hemp, right? So when you hear that, it sounds really confusing because you're used to going to a dispensary and looking at products that say total THC 30%. So when you hear less than 0.3% THC, you're like, okay, hold up. So how is this going to get me high in any sort of way? Today, we're going to break it down from the beginning to the end, hopefully try to make it as simple and as easy to understand. I've made a video about this before. I've went into a dispensary already. I got the COAs directly from them, broke down the test results on the screen, and still people seem confused. But you guys can circle back to that video. I'm going to have it here on the screen for you guys to go watch it so you guys can go see me walk into my local dispensary, ask for a COA, and break down the THC breakdown. But you guys can do this yourselves too. Don't take my word for it. Go to your local dispensary. Any dispensary that doesn't want to give you a COA, never shop with them again. Because by law, they're required to offer you a COA. So my recommendation is go to your local dispensary, ask for a COA, and look at it yourself. But today we're breaking down THCA versus THC. Now, we're holding two different packs here, but honestly, that's irrelevant because all weed is THCA. We're going to go ahead and spark this thing up and we're going to break that down. How is all weed THCA? When you plant a cannabis plant and you are growing it, it is purely THCA. It's not till you cut the plant down and you cure it and you dry it that there's a very small conversion from THCA to THC. So THCA is the raw form of THC. Basically, right now, this is THCA. Now that I'm doing this, it is converting over to THC. That's all that is, you guys. All it is THCA is weed before you heat it up. Basically, the entire plant is made up of purely THCA with very, very little THC. But once you spark it, that's when the conversion happens. That's when it turns into THC. That labeling that you see that says total THC, it's giving you the total percentage of THC that plant, that bud, that flower is going to have once it is sparked up, okay? If you look at a COA and you look at the THC section, right? It's not just THC. There's THCA, there's THCP, there's CBD. There's all these other different cannabinoids within the plant. And one of those is delta-9 THC, which is the one that you guys are used to hearing the most. If you look at a COA, even for dispensary grade weed, the shit you're getting directly from the dispensary, most of that stuff is testing under 1% THC. The rest is THCA. Now, when they do the math and then they multiply together the THCA with the THC and you get the total THC, that's the actual label that you're reading. It's giving you what the conversion would be once you spark it up. So what is THCA and why is it, why are you able to ship this across the country if it's no different than what's being sold in the dispensary? All it is a different license, you guys. The people in the dispensary, they have a completely different license. Their license is for recreational. Their license is for them to have an open shop running through the state. And basically, they're more solidified in a lot of ways with the state. We, as a hemp space, are still forming. We're definitely in this gray area, just roaming around right now, basically doing what they allow us to do while they allow us to do it. Because on top of everything, this month is technically the last month for the 2018 Farm Bill. Now, we're hoping for an extension, but there's no guarantee. So with that being said, this is your month to take advantage. But it's like the simplest way to explain THCA and THC, it's like this. If you have raw bud, right, like this, flower that hasn't been smoked, that hasn't been heated, if you eat this flower right now, if you take a bite of this flower, zero effect. You're not going to feel anything. Why? Because it's mainly just THCA with very, very little THC. Now, if you put this in the oven and then you eat it, it decarbs and it converts over from THCA to THC. And then when you eat it, you get high. Same thing with smoking it. It only gets you high because you're heating it up and it's converting over to THC. So you see, there's no two different things. It's not like THCA is this type of flower and THC is this type of flower. It's all the same flower. The only difference is the way the law was written for THCA, for hemp, was that they didn't talk about THCA. All they said was, hey, as long as THC tests under 0.3% THC, which you can get every single time with any weed if you test it early, which the bill allows you to do. So basically, you grow the plant, you get it fresh, you test it instantly, and it tests under 0.3% THC, guess what? You can now label that hemp. Obviously, you need the proper licensing behind it and everything, but you can now label that hemp. Even though this is the same exact weed that if you tested later on or with a different license, you could go ahead and put into a dispensary. It could go and be labeled under hemp and now legally be shipped across the country. So people are still so confused about this. Like, they're still like, nah, man, like THCA is gas station weed, you know? And I think the fact that it's sold in a smoke shop is a trip, and that's why people probably have the perception they have on it. Like, they instantly assume this is fake shit because how is it sold in a smoke shop? It's just a gray area, you guys. This is like back in the day when cannabis, before it went full recreational, it was medical. And when it was medical, there was so many laws that aren't legal now. Like, I'm going to give you guys an example. I remember back then when it was still medical, I went to an event in San Francisco in the Cow Palace, which is a huge place where they throw all these big events, right? I walked in there with the medical prescription. Walked in there. Bro, there was thousands of pounds on the tables with no limits to purchase. No ID check, no written form of, hey, you are blah, 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 and you're buying this many pounds. You were able to just go in there with your rec card. And once you were in there with whatever amount of cash you had, buy as much as you wanted, and this was completely legal, and this was an event that was ran by the city. They only ran it one time because then the laws changed, and when the laws changed, they basically put the hammer down and they tightened up, the space. They tightened up the regulations because they were like, hold up. All these people are making money, and the government's like, we're not getting paid for this. No. We got to make a change here, right? And that was a gray area, a small time in the space where if you were there to live it, you were able to take advantage of it. And that's all this 2018 Farm Bill is right now, guys. It is a gray area. It's a loophole. It's a space in time where if you're taking advantage of it and you're ordering it, you are getting cannabis straight to your doorstep legally. And that's fucking crazy, bro. That's crazy because imagine living in a state where you struggle to just get a plug, a reliable plug, or you're dealing with sketchy people, you're dealing with getting possibly arrested when you're going to do these transactions. Like, it definitely fixes a problem, to say the least. Now, people wonder, okay, so I can order it online to my doorstep, right? Well, is it legal once I have it, even though my state doesn't allow for, recreational cannabis? And that's where it gets tricky because you still have to follow your state laws. So basically, even though it's legal technically for you to get it to your doorstep, and before you smoke it, because it hasn't converted over to THC, it's still legal. The second you spark that shit up, bro, you got to treat it like anything you got from your plug. Be discreet about it, be smart about it, don't go out to public. Because there's actually a video, y'all, of this couple outside smoking, outside of a smoke shop, I think, and the police come and arrest them, and they're like, oh, it's THCA. We bought this from the smoke shop, and they still got arrested for it. And guess what? Now that I sparked this up, this is going to test as super high THC because I've officially sparked it up. So even though it was legal when you received it, once you break it down, you roll it up, and you apply heat, it is THC now, and you still have to follow your local state laws. So basically, that's what Texas is doing right now. They're running a law where they're trying to keep the hemp space around. That's kind of how they tried wording it. Like, oh, we're just trying to regulate it, and we're just trying to provide restrictions so that it's safe for consumption for everybody. But what they did is they passed a law, and within this new law, they're now going to test for total THC. So they're not going to just test for THC before you heat it up. They're going to do the before and after, basically. They're going to start doing the calculations on, hey, once you heat this plant up, even though right now, before you heat it up, it's testing really low THC and it qualifies as hemp. Once you heat it up, what's the THC percentage going to be? And that total THC, they want that to be below 0.3% THC, which is impossible, you guys. Basically, 99% of all the flower inside of the shops in Texas would be illegal. And there's 9,000 stores in Texas that popped up as smoke shops under this bill selling cannabis, hemp, right? It is labeled hemp, essentially. And, the government's catching on, bro. And it's crazy because I've been preaching this shit for so long, trying to tell you guys, hey, take advantage. Who knows how long this is going to be for? And what happens is when you put this type of information out there to people, there's the people that are just haters, bro. There's the people that are just misinformed. They're uneducated, and they go ahead and they write their shit comment because they're trying to get, their 5 seconds of clout. They're trying to get the attention of other people to be like, yeah, this is shit. Yeah, this is fake weed. But you guys are ruining it. Literally, you guys are ruining it for every person out there that has been iffy about trying it, and then they read your comment and they sit there debating like, is this fake? Is this person right? But dude, it's just the same exact shit, bro. I feel like I've tried to explain this in a million different ways. And I remember this is how somebody explained it to me, because I used to also label it as two different things. You grow a plant. We're going to talk about the same plant for this scenario. Let's say you grow OG Kush, okay? You grow a plant of OG Kush. You cut, you harvest, and you sell it on the street. You're a criminal. You're a trapper. You grow the same plant, right? With a recreational license or a medical license. You cut it, you cure it, you sell it within a shop, you're in the rec space, you're in the medical space. You grow the same exact plant, okay, with a hemp license. You test it early as allowed by the hemp space and by the way the law is written. It tests under a certain percentage of THC, which is 0.3%, which it's going to happen if you test it very, very early. Now it's hemp. Keep in mind, in these three scenarios, we were talking about the same exact plant just a different process of testing and a different process of the license you use. Now, just because you sent out your test for that, for that plant, it doesn't mean you had to cut down your whole harvest and to test it. You only send a small sample to get tested. So you still go through the same exact process you would with everything else. You still cut it, you cure it, then you package it, and then so forth, What I noticed a lot about this space, especially when it was really, really trendy. Like basically every single big brand was getting on it. I noticed that there was so much demand for the flower that nobody was curing their flower. So I ordered, bro, because I would order from all these hemp sites. Everything I would get would smell like shit. It would smell grassy. It would smell like hemp, like grass. It would give you the perception that this isn't real weed and that's why it smells like this and whatever, But it was just because the plant was super fresh, bro. And it doesn't matter who it is or where you get it from. Any plant that's super fresh, even trapping, it doesn't matter where the weed comes from, bro. If it's super fresh, it's gonna smell like grass, and you have to cure it. I mean, the company should have cured it, but because they're doing supply and demand, and orders are coming in, and they're just trying to get the orders out, there's basically no time, I guess, in their head to cure it and to master it. But on the other hand, when you get, let's say, small batch, trap weed, all right? That's a good example. They're going above and beyond to flush, to cure, to just do everything they can so that by the time you get presented with the product, your mind is blown because it's smoking crazy, it looks crazy, it smells crazy. Because as you cure it, the smell and everything else starts to build up, That's the difference, I guess. That's the biggest difference between getting trap weed and then getting something from the hemp space. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Most of the shit you get from the hemp space, it is going to be shit. And it's not because it's fake weed. It's not because it's gas station weed. It's because they're not curing it. They're growing it in masses. A lot of this shit is commercial grade. They're trying to do supply and demand. It's not like a small operation where people are selling $5,000 pounds because they are curing and cultivating a very small batch to make sure it's the best batch. I'll put it to you like this, guys. Once you get a room and start filling it with plants, it's inevitable that after a certain point, the quality control is going to go down because it's just impossible, bro. You would need so many extra hands to help you with these plants because essentially it gets overwhelming. Each plant requires its own type of attention. Each plant reacts different, and it's like a lot going on, and it's difficult when you're growing on a commercial scale to keep the quality the same. So that's the issue right now that I see in the space. The biggest issue right now, though, really is that, God forbid, they don't renew the farm bill. We don't get another year extension, and then people just missed out on an amazing opportunity because this has been, as somebody, I'll put it to you like this, as somebody who's been in this space for so long, bro, for so long, it always makes me emotional because I've been in this space for so long. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And it sucks that there's so much misconception behind it, but I guess it's not even the people's fault, bro. That's how the law was written. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how the law passed, because when you read it on paper, it sounds really good. Below 3% THC, okay. Yeah, sure. But nobody talked about THCA. Nobody talked about the conversion. It was just left right under there. Nobody talked about it. Nobody knew. And it got signed and put into place, So with that being said, I hope this video helped you understand slightly better. So let's talk about that a little bit too. The process behind hemp and how you get weed to be labeled as hemp, right? And basically the decarbylation process, because people think only heating it up with a lighter or heating it up in the oven is the only way that it converts over from THCA to THC. And it's mainly true. However, if you expose this same bud right here, let's say right now, this flower, let's say in this bag, right? Test at, 30% THCA and let's just be optimistic, 1%, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Man, we're even going to shoot super high, which is very, very, very unlikely. It tests at 2% THC, right? Raw, right now, before it sparked. That 2% that it converted with time of it being exposed to just hot environments. If you put this in a warm room, it's going to convert a little bit. If you expose this to the light and the sun, it's going to convert a little bit. But no matter what, bro, even if you left it outside in the sun, in the heat, I mean, you probably have to leave it in the Arizona heat or some shit like that for it to convert anymore because it's extremely hot. But even then, it's very unlikely it ever converts past 2% THC. It usually when it converts to that level, even to 2%, which is super, super high, it's because the weed is really old and it's been sitting for a really long time. You know, naturally, it's just not going to convert to very high percent of THC until real heat is applied, like a lighter, or you throw it in the oven. And then at that point, at that level of heat, it converts very well. And that's how you get the effects, the high and everything. But what a trip, you know, what a walk down just freaking an educational path and a, oh, no, what I'm saying, you guys, I'm fucking faded. All I'm trying to say is that I think with a little bit more education, people can understand that hemp, as of the way it is right now, it is just cannabis. I mean, it's definitely a loophole. Who knows how long this is going to be here for? But I'll say this, bro. People deserve access, man. Like, people, just because you live in a state where it's not as socially accepted as it is here in California, that doesn't mean you don't deserve access. People deserve fucking access to a plant, bro. I've had some of the craziest migraines I'd had in my life not that long ago. And when I sparked up, man, my shit disappeared in an instant. And that's when I was like, oh shit. Like, I know I come from a background of like kind of using it more in a recreational sense, I feel like, just because I enjoy it. But you really start to forget that this is real medicine, man. This is medicine. And people have a misconception. People are uneducated when it comes down to the plant. A lot of people, especially like the older people, like in my family, and I'm sure in your family, they think this is like the worst thing in the world, bro. Like, they think this is absolutely horrible. But the truth is that it's not. In moderation, and you know, in doing your research to get good quality product and stuff, things like a plant that people took really good care of, didn't spray it with no crazy shit. It's medicine, man. It's medicine at its finest. So I'm just super happy to be in the space. I'm super happy for everybody that has enjoyed Hella Slumped, everybody that has got to try Hella Slumped. I mean, we're almost at like 5,000 reviews or something like that of people just being so happy and amazed that they were able to get this ship straight to their doorstep. And I'm just grateful, bro. I'm grateful with everybody that watches, everybody that supports. You guys changed my life, bro. Like, it changed my family's life. And now even just opened me up to remembering why I ever started in this space, because way before I ever picked up a camera, I was definitely more of a businessman in this space. I was very intrigued by the business aspect of it because it was something that I liked.
That alone. So I don't got hot. Sorry, just talking. Eating.
Hell, back in the 60s, I used to smoke that shit up on the street. I shouldn't say that. Hell, it's getting high too. Everybody was doing it. Oh, it wasn't a thing to do because it was a thing to do, you know. It was a thing to do because it got you high. Hey, can you dig?
I feel you. Now, that's why I'm doing it. I feel it. Man, you cool as shit, mister. I hate to do it, but I gotta charge it.
$60.
That's $60. $60. Yeah.
And I remember when a dime bag cost a dime. You know what I mean? You know how much condoms used to cost back in them days?
How much?
I don't know. We never used them.
Didn't say he wasn't getting that. He just said he wasn't using rubbers. Living dangerously.
Hey everyone, welcome to our latest TDR Cannabis at 5 presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and today I've got an important video for all of you out there. I'm going to explain to you the proper protocols when you sit in a major network or a major publication on whether a story has actually some substance or whether or not it's a claim. The reason why I'm going to explain this to you is because, look, this is my background. I've worked in media for 20 plus years. So I'm going to walk you through step by step to determine whether a tweet actually has some substance or if a story actually is legit, especially when it comes around cannabis reform and cannabis rescheduling. We see all these rumors right now on social media. What's real? What's not? Do you believe it? Do you not? And the end result is stocks spike and then come crashing down because there's no news. Because a lot of you will ask questions. How do you know if it's real or not? So today I'm going to show you how a professional newsroom separates credible reporting from social media noise. So with that, let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. But first, a quick word from Morgan & Morgan. Hey everyone, there's a reason smart investors celebrate when their portfolio jumps 40% in a year. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Think about it. When you're investing, you want the right team in your corner. The same is true if you're injured in dealing with an insurance company.
Morgan.
That is where Morgan & Morgan comes into the equation. Why? Well, they've got more than 1,000 attorneys and over 100 offices nationwide, and they've been fighting for people for over 35 years, and their track record is hard to ignore. Let me explain a little bit further. Case in point, in Florida, a client was offered $350,000, but walked away with $12 million. In Pennsylvania, another client, they turned $650,000 offer into $26 million. That's a 40x return. So in total, Morgan & Morgan, they've recovered more than $25 billion for over 500,000 clients. So really, when you hire him, it's like bringing in a legal army that has your back. Because if you're injured due to someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. And let's be honest, not all law firms are created equal. But with Morgan & Morgan, their fee is free unless they win. You can start your claim right now by clicking the link in the description below or by scanning this QR code on your screen with your phone. At the end of the day, if you want what you deserve, make sure you go in with the right team by contacting Morgan & Morgan today. Now, let's get back to the rest of our video. Let's start where every good journalist begins, the source. If someone says a senior Trump official told me cannabis rescheduling is coming soon, it's not a verified story. That's a claim. Inside a newsroom, the first question is always, who's the source and what's their proximity to this information? If the tweet doesn't name anyone, we obviously know that's a red flag. If it does say a White House advisor told me, a producer will immediately try to verify. So what is that? Well, first of all, is that person really part of the administration? Also, do they have a track record of accuracy? And have they been quoted by reputable outlets before? We'd also look for a pattern of credibility. One random post, even if it goes viral, doesn't equal sourcing. Credible stories usually come from established reporters who have built trust and relationships over time. Names you've seen bylined on major networks or policy outlets like Marijuana Moment, Politico, or even Reuters. Now let's go on to our next step. Once the source looks legitimate, the newsroom moves to confirmation. So let's say the tweet claims a senior Trump official says that DEA decision could come by month's end, and we've seen lots of that. So a real newsroom doesn't report that immediately. Instead, we call or email every relevant agency or spokesperson to check it. So that means the White House Communications Office, or the DOJ, or even the DEA press office, sometimes even the HHS or ONDCP staff. If none of these official sources confirm the story, and more importantly, if they decline to comment, then clearly that's a signal to proceed with extreme caution. So no credible journalist will air it as fact. At best, it would be presented as there are unverified reports circulating online, but we have not independently confirmed them. Look for that in any tweet. That's a critical difference between newsroom and social media. I know everybody loves social media, but man, this stuff makes it even more chaotic at times. All right, next up, here's another key move. Trace it back. Sometimes a tweet looks like breaking news, but it's actually just echoing another outlet's story. So a seasoned producer will ask, who reported this first and where did they get it from? And to be honest, you'd be surprised how often viral tweets are just people quoting each other in circles. What journalists call the echo chamber effect, something we all know very well, at least in my field. So the goal is to find the first person or organization that published the claim, then assess whether that source has editorial standards, accountability, and a history of correction when wrong. If it all traces back to one anonymous post or a vague insider, it doesn't meet broadcast journalism standards. And that's period. So whether you're running a YouTube channel like mine or
He said he's experienced.
or working at a major network, these are the steps to determine what's real and what's not. The next step now is evidence. So in a serious newsroom, before anything airs, producers ask for supporting material, internal memos, press guidance, FOIA records, or scheduling documents. If the story involves policy like cannabis rescheduling, here's the things we'd ask. Has the Federal Register post any notice? Has the DOJ or DEA filed a public rule? Is there a meeting summary or a statement that can be verified? Without documentation, you're relying purely on hearsay, and that's not journalism. That's rumors. So in real reporting and journalism, no single source ever makes a story. You always need a second independent confirmation, ideally from someone who doesn't rely on the same chain of information. So for example, if a White House aide says rescheduling is coming soon, here's what you'd want to do. You'd want to confirm it separately from a DEA or DOJ contact or from someone within Congress who's been briefed. So what do we call that in the media world? It's called corroboration, and that is the backbone of credible reporting, period. And another thing veteran journalists always ask is, why now? If someone leaks information close to an election, a policy vote, rescheduling, or a major stock movement, you have to consider the motive here. And we all know in social media, a lot of motives are to move stocks, but they go up, they come down, they go up, they come down. And people are often asking, you know what, I'm done with this. So here's how to better prepare yourself next time something like this happens. Ask these questions. Could this be an intentional leak to gouge public reaction? Also, could it be misinformation to influence market prices? Again, like I just said. Or is it a legitimate scoop that just happens to land at the perfect time? And we all feel right now this is the 11th hour that Trump could have a decision on rescheduling at any time. So some of you really know this, but let's calm emotions down because understanding motive helps weigh credibility. Even accurate information can be strategically leaked, and recognizing that pattern takes experience and really patience. Case in point, Trump's Truth Social. It came from him, the source. So sometimes it just comes down to logic in all this. If the claim says Trump will reschedule cannabis next week, but there's no DEA process, no formal filing, and no public statement, it doesn't pass the smell test. And ask yourself, does this align with what's already in motion right now? Real policy changes usually leave a trail. Hearings, draft notices, agency correspondence. If you don't see any of that, treat it as speculation and not fact. So as we get towards this, here's where you come in. You don't need to be in a newsroom to apply some of these same standards. When you see a post like that on X or Threads, do this. 1, click the profile. How long have they been active? Are they journalists or random accounts? 2, look for corroboration. Have any credible outlets? Reuters, Bloomberg, Politico, or Marijuana Moment? Did they pick it up? 3, check the timestamp. Old tweets get recycled constantly. 4, wait for follow-up. Real stories usually evolve with updates, quotes, or documents. And when you do that quick scan, it'll save you from reacting emotionally or financially to a rumor. So my takeaway in all this, as you know, the cannabis industry is full of excitement, and that's what makes it such a thrilling space to cover. But every serious investor, journalist, or policymaker needs to separate noise from news. Because credibility, it isn't about who posts first, it's about who gets it right. So next time you see a tweet that claims a senior official said something huge is coming, take a deep breath, verify the source, and remember what real reporting looks like behind the scenes. I hope this breakdown helps. This is the latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. Leave your comments below and let us know what your thoughts are. And you get caught up in this, it's okay. But hopefully, like I said, this breakdown helps you. I'd love to get your feedback. So again, drop those comments below. And one last thing, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications to get the latest information from us here at TDR. That's it for now. See you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope it was helpful for you. Take your time, be patient, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.
From summer's end till the winter comes, till gray days turn to yellow ones. I stay grinding for mine. I try to tell them once, to travel to the moon, you gotta brave the elements. And battle many goons, you gotta cage the elephants. It's elementary, I speak with a certain eloquence. I smoke hella blunts, that habit I've been developed since I was a young boy playing the silver ball. See them stand, feel them fall, Metallica, kill them all. Living like this is my last moment, but a moment could last forever. Snap a picture and that, hold it. Get whatever you going, sip in your glass, hold it up. Hit the side on mine, get the tip in the back, go in. So many days we were sitting low. Better get busy living till the day you're giving and they get to go where the sinners go. Pulling the cash and spend it slow, better make it fast, redemption. No, not no money, yo, it's all expendable. You be alright, yeah.
Hey everyone, happy end of week and welcome into this TDR Weekly Recap.